down on us, and we want that Department of DTI to be part of it. But I would want to make this humble appeal. That investment is the investment of the country, because the wind farm that is going to be developed there, it is working towards the national grid. But what we need to make sure that we don't deprive ourselves of is the social investment of our communities. And in that, it is so important that the Eastern Cape Province, together with the Northern Cape Province, because the investment is not only in the Eastern Cape, it cut across 2 provinces, then it becomes important that there will be social facilitation between the Office of the Premier of the Eastern Cape and that of the Northern Cape. But also the district municipality, which is Chris Hani, with Mthanjeni District Municipality. As Umsobomvu Municipality and Inquba Yethemba was just legal fish as Koyo Pole, but we need really that the partnership, and how then do we make sure that we don't draw or make sure that we frighten the investors. It has to be coordinated at a level of the premiers and district executive mayors, and we are also doing the same. So on the 6th of October, we are starting our own physical meeting with the investors, and we will request, as I'm saying, these spheres of government to be involved in that first meeting. Because when you lose out on the first meeting, there might be things that you can't really assist us on if we do take some agreements in those. But I'm comfortable with the fact that DTI will be part of us. With the current social facilitation that has been done, there are tensions on the side of Northern Cape. Hence, I'm saying it is important that we come together as a province and districts. There are tensions of social facilitation, but what I would want to appreciate, if the communities cannot really protest or have conflicts on that project, it would yield good results for them. Because when there are protests, you find that the deviation will deviate from what we wanted. Sizalsusa imehlo ebholeni. Hence, then it is important that you see massage all the concerns that the communities are having. And it's a big slice, even with the SMMEs. No Port and Middleburg cannot afford the capacity of that project. That project has to go beyond Craddock and Coastback. Even that, they can't afford it. It has to go beyond the district. So the SMMEs will have to be provincial SMMEs, because we don't have a capacity as Inquba Yethemba and Umsobomvu, where we can be able to afford such a huge project. But I wanted also to say thank you, Chris Hani, except that 3 billion, 500 million now for renewable energy, that we are having a trip to Germany, and I know that we are going to clinch the deal. We'll sign the contracts with the German investors. You visited us and you were really happy with the land in Craddock that we afforded you, and also with the land in Middleburg. That is much appreciated, and the community is so excited about that. So, and I want to make sure that asishiywa siyinquba yethemba. Ilondo ke nizamani sithi inquba yethemba. But I wanted to ask just a few questions on the presentations, actually to advise. One, on the issue of the EWCTA. there was a request from the lady that as municipalities, we need to support their young people who are coming from theory. And as municipalities, we have to give practical work to them. I wanted to suggest that if EWCTA can also copy what Treasury is doing with its students. Treasury makes sure that after theory, the students are placed in municipalities, and they are placing them with a stipend. And in that process, municipalities are absorbing those students. I know in Ngoba currently with the students that we receive from Treasury, they are already now employed. So we still need other that should come. So if EWCTA can do the same and make sure that they do a follow through to their students and not just leave them after theory, they must make sure that there's a placement policy on their side that is clear so those students won't lose out, but also appreciating one of their internship that they have done with students, where they were taking them for a year to China, but when they're coming back, that prior learning is not recognized in the country. Those kids are now again have to do internship in South Africa. What is the use of taking students to China for a learning, and then you come and not recognize whilst you have spent on that? So I wanted to advise the SETA that the work they are doing is good, but they need to align it properly and check with Treasury how then they are doing it. Lastly, Chair, I wanted to check on the energy performance certificates, because that is the process we are going to follow now as in Ngoba, and it's important that that process should be running within our veins. The EPC regulatory overviews, what are the time frames and what are the possible rejections and bottlenecks that goes with it. I've seen the framework, and it was talking to the issue that we must have a service provider, that I'm not sure whether it's a sole service provider or there's a data that they are having which we can tap on, but I want to be proactive because this is a process we are going to follow. Thank you so much. It was a good decision that Chris Hani District Municipality has established an agency that is so vibrant in assisting municipalities. We could not have achieved most of the things that we have achieved without that agency. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. I was hoping that my colleagues will have come back with an agreement so that we can get that signed before, get that signed now, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they are ready. Just 1 second. Okay, they're still printing. She's going to leave.
Yes, I don't want to delay. But
Okay.
as soon as they can back up, indicate.
Okay, so colleagues, they are still printing, so what we will do we still have a few more presentations to make before we conclude. So what we'll do is we'll continue with the presentations, and we'll then do the signing at the end of the program. Our next presentation will be from, is he ready? We are either going to listen to Prof. Mukwedi from Stellenbosch University, if he is ready. If not, we will then listen to Ndumiso talking to us about green building initiatives. But let me just check if Prof. Mukwedi is ready. Okay, it doesn't look like he's ready. Is Ndumiso ready for us? And we now need to move these things back, right, so that we can have it. Yeah. Okay, we now need to rearrange the setup. So. Do you need a podium or you can just stand like that? I can stand like that. But are you connected? Is the cable connected? Where's the cable? Should be this side.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ndumiso Kholomane. I'm coming from the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure in the Krisani district. I'll be presenting a slides, just few slides on retrofitting and energy efficiency and water savings in our buildings. The department has the roles of a facilities management for the district offices of the provincial government. We are also landlords for the residential properties that we have in the region, which are close around 100 houses that we are landlord of. We are also implementing agent for the client departments, your provincial departments. The commitments the department has when it comes to renewable energy, and it's on the what we do as a department. We have properties that we are busy with that we have done renewable energy on, like the Walter Sisulu Science Center in Kofenvaba, that we use as a more of a research and sort of training our artisans on the renewable energy. The building is using both the ESCOM line, we're using solar, we're using also wind turbines to manage energy on that building. So what we're currently doing on those buildings, we're using it as a way of training our artisans in making sure that our maintenance, as a maintenance department, we're able to maintain when we fully roll out energy efficiency in the buildings. Further, we have appointed Renonet to do all our buildings, sort of audits, to do water audits, to do energy audits, to have a baseline on what the department is currently using in terms of energy, in terms of water usage, and also in terms of waste management, on how are we doing as a department. Then after that, what we'll use that information, as we are currently doing we are reviewing our energy efficiency policy, so that information will inform us on way forward on how we're gonna approach energy efficiency. Currently, the department we're running 4 projects for the Department of Education, where we are fitting on the schools LED lights in all the schools, motion sensors, so that currently when people are leaving their offices or leaving their classrooms, they would leave the lights on, so that after some time, if there's no movement, the lights will switch off automatically. We are also installing solar power on those schools, and also using gas for cooking. In our maintenance projects, we are currently have 3 maintenance projects. Our ablution facilities, where we are converting to use more water-saving devices, like your waterless urinals, which is the most part that is wasting a lot of water when it comes to offices. So we're moving towards using waterless urinals. We are also fitting new aircons that are more energy efficient into our buildings. And we're also busy now with one of our client departments in our building to remove all your incandescent lighting and using only LED lighting. The challenges that we, as a Chris Hani district, in other regions, there are projects that are on the ground that we're trying to get a star rating, but due to challenges of budget, Chris Hani region for the next 2 years will not have capital projects due to concentration now, which is Alfred Nzo and OR Tambo. Another challenge that we have, that we are experiencing, where we are doing at the Walter Sisulu Science Center, due to the renewable energy, which is a new thing, we are struggling with getting materials for maintenance. We are struggling with products in the province for maintenance. There is a struggle for skills that when these things are installed, maintenance becomes a big issue due to budget constraints, due to the current skills in the province, both our SMMEs and also our internal artisans. As you would know that currently in the country, when it comes to artisans, there's no specific artisans when it comes to maintenance of your solar systems that you put in, maintenance of your batteries that you're using on your solar, and some wind turbines that you install in the buildings. Their maintenance of when a blade is broken, to get that blade, it's a mission. So those are the challenges that the industry leaders need to look at when developing policies and also looking at the trainings that needs to happen so that our youth in the country to use this space as a catalyst for job creation. Um, Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is all that we have as Public Works. And also the commitment to make sure that our buildings are energy efficient. We are at the elementary stage as a department, as we're using some of the small projects that we have as a way to learn on how, if we install these things, on how we're going to manage them and how we're going to maintain them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dumiso. That was nice and quick. Okay, so colleagues, thank you very much. We just have a few more presentations before we conclude. We'll now listen to Kuda from Sakri, and he will talk to us a little bit about the role they perform in the renewable energy and energy efficiency space. Sakri, Kuda, are you ready? He is online, so we'll try and connect him so that he can talk to us. Just a few more minutes, and then he will connect. We're just waiting for him to share his slides, and then we'll start. And I think I can almost see them now. Almost there. Just a few more seconds. The technology is messing up with us right at the end. Okay. Excellent. Kuda, you are welcome. Can you hear me?
But nothing is coming through the system, the Zoom. Can you check your mic on the side? Remember, you have to put me in as well. You have to put me in as well. So you need to be on. Yeah, but did you, okay, just hang on. I think it's on our side. The link you have with me. I did call you. I'm going to that link. Which link is that which you click? There's the one that you gave me.
Okay, obviously it was too good to be true that we don't have any problems with technology while having slight problems now, but give us a few more minutes and then we should be okay.
Okay, the sound, you guys are working on it. Okay.
Almost there, almost there. Yeah, I've been saying that for a long time, right?
On already.
Okay. Kuda, can you hear me now?
Hello, yes, may I proceed?
Yes. Excellent. Now we can hear you and you can hear us. Please proceed. We
Hello, I
have
hope you
projected
can
your
hear me.
presentation. Please proceed.
Hello, Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Kuda. Please proceed. We have projected your presentation.
Hello,
Okay, we're having problems, so hold on 1 second.
yeah, I see there's a feedback. I don't know whether it's from my side, there's an echo. Hello? Let me know if I can proceed. If you can hear me, then I think it's fine, I can proceed.
Can hear you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Okay, Chair, I'll talk briefly about SACRI, who we are, and then also a slide on our focus areas, programmatic activities. And then I'll zoom in on the renewable energy and energy efficient strategy and action plan for the SADC region, and then how that links with solar thermal, and then our role specifically in support of the Salt Train project, which you have heard from Richie, what Salt Train has been doing so far in the region. So basically, SACRI is a regional center. It stands for the SADC Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, which was established in 2015 by the SADC ministers responsible for energy. It was given a mandate to promote increased access to modern energy services, as well as improved energy security across the SADC region through the promotion of market-based adoption of renewable energy and energy efficient technologies and services. I believe you appreciate that these are two issues that are really pertinent to SADC. That is, when you talk to energy security, I think South Africa really bears testimony to the insecurity of energy supply, which is not only unique to South Africa, but it's across the region. Then, of course, with energy access, this is a big challenge. Of course, South Africa, you can say your access levels are quite high, but for the rest of the region, we are on average standing at about 52% energy access. So it was seen prudent by the ministers responsible for energy that renewables can play a big role, as well as energy efficiency, to address these two challenges. So in 2017, SADC ministers responsible for energy mandated SACRI to support the SADC Secretariat in monitoring the implementation of the regional renewable energy and energy efficient strategy and action plan, commonly known as RESAP. You may be asking also, how is SACRI funded? How is it supported? We, as a regional organization, we are supported by the member states through their contributions. We also get donor funding, but we also do cost recovery for some of the services that we offer, especially related to programmatic and project activities. In our establishment, actually our establishment was through the support, both technical and financial, from the Austrian Development Corporation and UNIDO, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. We are based in Namibia, Windhoek, which won the bid to host SACRI. So our areas of intervention, we intervene largely on policy issues, support the member states to develop policies, and ensure that these policies are aligned and harmonized across the region. We also support capacity building activities, knowledge management, that is generating information and sharing that information, and then also supporting with finance where possible. Although we're not a financial organization, but we try to mobilize financial resources and intervene in strategic projects or activities. So just to give you an example of some of the activities that we're involved in, Soul Train, which has just been mentioned with funding from ADA. We are also involved in the SADC Regional Energy Efficient Lighting and Appliances Initiative, ELA, which is with the funding of CEDA. Through this, we've actually developed minimum energy performance standards for phasing out inefficient lighting. Then we also conduct some research. For example, we have been developing tools, decision support tools for development and integration of large-scale renewables. We're doing this together with the Regional Electricity Regulators Association, University of California, Santa Barbara, with support of UK Aid. One of our flagship programs is actually the Renewable Energy Entrepreneurship Support Facility with the support of IREN and the Africa-EU Energy Partnership. I'm saying this is quite a flagship program because the response has been quite overwhelming. We do have quite a number of also South African enterprises that have participated or that continue to participate in this facility, where we offer technical assistance to entrepreneurs so that they can scale up their businesses. I think one of the key things here is that we take some of these entrepreneurs to interact with their counterparts across the region, and now we want to do it across the globe so that they can benefit from the experiences and business opportunities offered by entrepreneurs, their counterparts across the globe. Another project which we are doing with support of the World Bank and in partnership with SAP, the Southern African Power Pool, SADC Secretariat and RERA, is the accelerated regional energy projects. Here, there are quite a number of issues that we're dealing with, from assisting decision makers in integrated resource planning. We are now developing standards for storage, especially chemical batteries. These storage devices require codes and standards. We are also going to update our status report, where we're mapping the status of renewable energy and energy efficiency across the region. We are also going to train decision makers on decision support tools, also how the region can become resilient to climate change effects. Another activity, we have heard also about green hydrogen. There are a number of initiatives taking place in South Africa that we're aware of. I would say in the region, it's South Africa and Namibia that are taking leadership in green hydrogen development. But we see also other countries that are on the horizon that would like to come in as well. So what then we are doing now is to develop a strategy, a common strategy across the region, so that green hydrogen as a career can benefit both upstream and downstream industries and services, so that we can fully benefit from this resource. And then another activity is improving livelihoods through the Water Energy Food Nexus, the WEF Nexus. We are piloting the Water Energy Food Nexus in 5 countries. There's quite a lot to learn from the Nexus approach. There are big issues to deal with, issues around land use, land utilization, land ownership, and things like that. But then we're trying to see how, what are the best practices of tapping into these resources. Another activity that we're just completing now is the regional cooling program. This ties in also with the presentation from Sanedi on the energy EPC, energy performance certificates. So we're developing minimum energy performance standards for cooling appliances such as refrigerators and air conditioners. And lastly, we are supporting a few countries which want to leapfrog into energy efficient appliances, such as distribution transformers, as well as refrigerators. Just to take a bit on the RISAP. RISAP is actually a regional framework from which SADC member states will develop their own renewable energy and energy efficient strategies and action plans. The key strategic objectives of RISAP are to achieve energy security by closing the current supply and demand deficit, largely in the power sector, and enabling future economic growth and industrialization. We also are looking, one of the objectives as well is to increase availability, accessibility, and affordability of modern energy services, issues around risks associated with energy imports. Another objective is to support mobilization of financial resources that will eventually lead into a low carbon development path and climate resilient energy systems in the SADC member states. So some of the specific actions here include strengthening national and regional institutions to adopt and implement renewable energy and energy efficiency projects, create policies, plans, strategies, and also have appropriate regulation standardization frameworks, attract private sector participation in investments in renewable energy and energy efficiency, capacity building, finance, amongst others. So this app actually was adopted in 2017 by the member states, and we're looking at reviewing it in the immediate future. So how does RISAP align itself with solar thermal technology? So specifically with RISAP, it speaks to that energy efficiency offers the cheapest way of investment to generate additional capacity to meet the ever-increasing electricity demand and offer solar thermal applications to meet energy demand in sectors such as households, social institutions, and others. I mean, Rich Kasege has spoken eloquently about this issue. So we are looking at lessons from Sultan, which can be adapted across, in the heating, cooling space, as well as cooking space. So what is the role of SACRE in supporting the implementation of Sultan? SACRE has a mandate to ensure development and harmonization of enabling policy framework among the SADC member states. So under Sultan phase 4, which is actually coming to an end, so SACRE is supporting responsible ministries to implement solar thermal roadmaps, because some of the countries have already developed and adopted solar thermal roadmaps. So we are essentially supporting the implementation of roadmaps, some of which include bankable proposals that we've developed. So some of the countries are already going to the market to seek for funding to roll out solar thermal technologies. Additionally, SACRE supports the implementation. So through Sultan also, we're ensuring that national action plans include solar thermal roadmaps and communicate their goals and objectives. We are also coordinating capacity building programs. We are supporting the mobilization of national and international funds for the implementation of the programs and roadmaps. As I mentioned, those countries that have their roadmaps in place. So we're supporting them in seeking funding. We're also supporting governmental bodies and private sector that want to manufacture solar thermal technologies. With that, Chair, I thank you. For further details, you can contact us through the contact details on the board. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kuda. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's the last of our presentations, and yeah, and then we were supposed to receive a presentation from Prof. Mapola, but Doc will talk a little bit about that, and then from there we'll move on and deal with the signing of the agreement. Doc?
Right, colleagues, I would like to extend Prof. Mampueli's apology. This afternoon, he was supposed to join us just before the signing to give a talk on the regulations, adding on what Dr. Silas Mlauzi had spoken about. So, yeah, and also give you a brief background of what the center is doing and some of the areas of collaboration that some of your institutions may seek to establish with us. So that has not happened, and our sincere apologies. His schedule had became hectic. So we have the presentation that he prepared, and it will be included in the pack of presentations that will be circulated to all the attendees. So you have not lost anything. You can go through the presentation on your own. If you have questions, contact us at the center. Let us engage further. So that presentation is there. You will get it with the pack of all the presentations that were given today. Thank you, colleagues. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Doc. So, colleagues, just 2 items before we conclude. We have listened to a lot of presentations, and Ms. Nyukwana and her staff will share the slides with us, so you will receive all of those. But I am sure that you have a number of questions on presentations that were made today. And if there's anyone who has a question, an input, let me open the floor for you to make those. We'll spend a bit of time taking any inputs you might have, any questions you might have before we conclude our program today. Is there anyone who wants to make a statement? I can see 2 hands there. We have 1 mic, so I'll walk around and then I will give you the mic so that you can make any input. I'll come back to you. And please tell us who you are, and then you can make your input as well.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Ndwasa, born and bred here in Queenstown. I don't know, I'm so excited. First of all, let me just thank the Chris Hani District Municipality together with Chris Hani Development Agency. Yeah. My company, African Horizon, Go Green Rotomolding, started as African Horizon Innovations and Technologies. And we had a section there working as a landscape architect. That is where I got involved with what we are doing now, rotomolding, because Go Green is the only 100% black-owned rotomolding company in the country. And when we were still running as African Horizon Innovations and Technology, we got some work to do for the towns around the Eastern Cape and the Department of Education. The best of them all, besides beautifying the cities and towns around, was to be involved in helping the government with the problem that they are still having, that of water and sanitation. And again, with their food nutrition program. I heard somebody here who mentioned the 3 Crowns Primary School. The 3 Crowns Primary School was the first that we installed. The 3 Crowns Primary School was the first that we installed. Then 4 years later, and then 4 years later, 4 years later, and then 3 years or 4 years back, we started working on 3 schools. That is the Inyanga High School, the Mount Arthur High School. We've also changed their system into the biodigester system. But to be short is that I decided to open up this rotomolding company. Thanks again to CHDA. And this rotomolding company, we will be manufacturing 5,000 and 2,000 liters of water tanks those that people are always call it Georgia Tank, my competitor. We are working now on a new system because the biodigesters, zonke isisifake kwezi zikolo. Now we have redesigned them for households because there is a need. There is a need, not only in our province, but all over the country for the biodigester system. That biodigester system, it's at the stage ngoku because it's busy na prototype yayo. We have employed 28 people already, and kula 28, 90% of them are young guys. And I will tell you ngenye imini why disinxabise ngaba bafana nalamantombi akule age ingaka nale technology banayo. Ngenhlahla, now I've partnered up with some other young guys. Omnye nangapha ecani kwam uzayichaza kakuhle lento siyenzayo ngoku because we got into renewable energy. Ndikhawuleze ndabathatha, and enye into emandi phaa kum emsebenzini akukho Mr. Ntwasa, akukho boss, kukho utata, everybody undibiza utata. Nanko unyana wam ke uzayicacisa le.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, my name is Jason. I'm the director of Off the Grid Energy Solutions. I've partnered with Mr. Marco at Go Green. We specialize in taking people off the grid with their power complications. We specialize in all types of systems, from taking you off the grid to supplying you with alternate solutions. We offer grid tie, hybrid, backup, complete off-grid systems. We have partnered with Sinani, who you have heard before from Twiza. We have been doing piggeries, Crickly, and Just Milk. We are also looking into manufacturing our own solar panels at Mr. Michael's factory. We are busy building packages for, thank you. We are busy building packages for schools, RDP housing, clinics, and small businesses. Together, with your help, we can take South Africa off the grid. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are real life examples. Okay, Doc?
Thank you, Mr. Ramabulani. Molweni ngalenjikalanga. I am Noncedo Keu, a board member of Chris Hani Development Agency. I was hoping to ask these questions, some of the questions from the presenters that I've already left, but I hope that Dr. Kaseka and Mr. Siwepu and Dumiso will be able to assist me in clarifying these issues. In his introductory remarks, Mr. Ramulana stated that our intention as Chris Hani District Municipality is not pure business. We are also looking to improve the livelihoods of our people. So my question is mainly related to skills development. I'd like to understand to what extent are these partnerships benefiting, one, the employees of the companies, I would say of the contracting companies. If I may make an example, Rob was presenting about the partnership that they have, that is Twiza versus an installation company. So I wanted to check if what partnership, is there any form of skills transfer from the installation company to the employees in that company, and taking it further to the to the broader communities? Is there some kind of skills transfer that people in that community benefit from? And secondly, my question is related to the RPL process. Candice spoke about that they assist emerging, or I don't want to use the word illiterate, but non-certified service providers with accreditation. And I understand that that process can be very long and tedious. I would like to ask Dr. Kaseke, as a capacity building center, because I think you mentioned that you also provide capacity, and in addition to that, you are an academic institution. To what extent are you supporting the emerging? The word emerging is not proper, because some of the service providers are highly experienced, but they do not have certificates in the process, RPL process. And the third question is related to our district dynamics, or even province. At one stage, I went to a number of schools in the Eastern Cape, and I found that, okay, we would be told that there were solar panels here. And most of those solar panels were not there, and the reason that was given was that that was related to theft. I'd like to know from Ndumiso, are there any latest developments in the solar space that are meant to address that risk, theft? And lastly, Candice made an emphasis with regard to the prioritization of science and maths, and she even said you cannot, maybe I'm not quoting her directly, thrive in the space, in the energy space, because you need to have maths and science. However, the reality is that there are also soft skills, people skills. I just want to understand, how balanced are your skills program, Dr. Kaseka, when it comes to that? Are you purely maths, or you also tap into social skills? Because some people are social scientists. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Doc. I'll come to you just now. Let me just check if there's anyone else who has a question or a comment. No, I'll come to you. Let me start with Doc, then I'll come to you.
Okay, thank you for your questions. I will try my best to answer as many as I can and as best as I can with the information that I have. When it comes to skills development, the Candice is true that some of the skills, there's a gap. What has been identified is that there's a gap, skills gap. Department of Science and Innovation conducted an exercise through Green Cape, one of our partners as well. So we are a center that's funded by the Department of Science and Innovation. So we carry some of the mandates that they get from government filtered through to us to be able to help them in achieving their mandates. One of those that has come to light now with the new mandates is that we as universities have been sitting comfortably in our spaces. And then you have got the VTCs, you've got the TVETs sitting at the bottom of the food chain. And we're sitting there, we're very proud, we're not coming down, to assist them. So what DSI is now doing is it's now pushing us to get some of the skills and the knowledge that we sit with as universities to come down to assist and lift up the TVETs and VTCs. So they want us to bridge that gap. Somehow we need to do that. So The center, fortunately, the center has this program that they've been running, the short course program. The short course program does accept quite a lot of people of various backgrounds in terms of qualifications and all that. But what we also trying to do, what we quickly did and realized, and it's something that we do as a center that has managed to get us always like ahead of the other centers, is we are quick to know our limits. We know what we can do best, and we always do that best, our best. And then we also quickly realize if we are not properly positioned to do certain things, we rob in our partners. If there's no partnership, we identify those partners and formalize the partnerships. So what we did recently, 2 weeks ago, we concluded an agreement with Saratec. I don't know whether you know what Saratec is. Saratec is South African Renewable Energy Training Center. It's attached to CPUT. Right? So they have a direct link to artisans that Candice have been talking about, because CPUT does have that curriculum. They look after the artisans because it was former Technicon, right? So they have that already in place. So Saratec, as a national training center, they are already accredited. Their qualifications and certificates are accredited by the qualification authorities in the country. So for us to start the process of getting new qualifications, going through accreditation, it's going to be difficult, you know. So Saratec is already placed. We're not duplicating anything that they're doing. We're bringing them in, and then using and then lobby for funding, and then use some of their certification or qualifications to skill the groups of people that would like to skill, ranging from VTCs all the way up to graduate students from the university. Funny enough, engineering students are graduating, going and registering at Saratec for training, get certifications, and go out of the country and look for good jobs in the Middle East, in the renewable energy space. This is information we got from the director of Saratec, that they have a database of engineering students that are coming to them for those certificates after graduating, because they are on demand in the industry. So those are the skills that we need to get to people. These are the skills that we need to get to the companies. You pay a certain fee to get certified, but what we're doing is, okay, once we have the partnership, we then find funding, look for funding, and then get the selected candidates trained free of charge. We pay for it. So we have also an internship program in the center where we take TVET college graduates to come and be attached to the center for 12 to 18 months. In the center, they're exposed to all the projects that we're doing. We rotate them from one project to the next so that they get all the full spectrum of skills that we see is necessary in the field. And after 18 months, they are highly employable. They have a CV that says they've worked on so many projects. They know what they're doing. So we attach them to engineering students like Simni Kiwe, engineers in the center that, like Simni Kiwe, with a certain project. So then he becomes the mentor until the end of that project. We move them to the next project just to give them experience in all the areas that are important in their career. We concluded a 600,000 funding agreement, which was signed by EWCTA last week. Tomorrow, we're having our kickoff meeting with EWCTA to see how we can start, rolling out the program. This is attached to a program that we developed through the short course our short course program, which was funded by GIZ, and it's called Power Systems Planning and Operation. So you get trained on power systems planning and operation with a specific focus on integration of renewables. So this has had a large demand from ESCOM, and using the funding from GIZ, we have trained over 200 ESCOM employees. With the funding from EWCTA, we open it up to municipalities as well, so that employees of the municipalities at various levels can come and get trained through the short course program at very little or no charge, because we have the funding already from EWCTA. So these are the efforts that we're doing in terms of getting these skills there. I talked about DSI commissioning a skills needs survey in the renewable energy space. And that report, there's a full report that was produced by Green Cap. It has identified specific areas where we need to strengthen in terms of developing local skills. Because whether we like it or not, all the big IPPs, the highly skilled jobs, they had to outsource. So you are having a project that is going to run for 20 years. What do you have in place to make sure that you develop the local, to make sure that by the time you exit after 20 years, you have those skills locally here in South Africa. So this is what DSI, this is what is informing DSI's new path in trying to get universities meeting halfway with TVETs and VTCs, artisans, getting these skills across. And then we also have the private-public partnerships that we're exploring, where we have these interns, the engineering graduates that have to be attached to a specific company to get the hands-on experience, so that they are highly employable at the time they exit the institution, they graduate. With Soltrain, we do a lot of skills development as well. We target also SME, small to medium enterprises in the renewable energy space, those that are in installation of solar thermal systems. The one good thing that I find very appealing with solar thermal systems is that if you look at a flat plate collector or and everything that goes into the system, it's just plumbing. It's stuff that somebody can do, but you just need to know how to connect it, how to balance the pressures, how the systems are connected. So it's not a skill that somebody should go to university for. The skill that you have, if you're a plumber, we can easily turn you into an installer for solar thermal systems. So those are low-hanging fruits that we can start, exploring right now without having to bend over backwards that much, so to speak. So that is exactly what we can do. And technology localization, if you come to solar thermal, is also very high. The potential to localize 80-90% of the technology is there, because making a flat plate collector is very simple. The science is there. I mean, the physics is very simple, because you just need a surface that can absorb as much heat as possible in sun. You need a glass. You need some technologies like your evacuated tubes and so on. You may need specific equipment, but again, it's not difficult to really localize. If you look at, on the other hand, if you look at solar PV, the cell manufacturing is very specialized, and you need very clean rooms to do that. And it's difficult to localize at that point. But the installation, the assembly of the module, you're able to do it locally. But the manufacture of the cells, you have to import. You still have to import. So you still have, you need to check that as well. You know what skills need to be developed. But that full report from Green Cape highlights all the shortages that are needed to be, that we need to look at in order to bridge the skills gap in the renewable energy space. Then I think, is there anything that okay. On theft, from our projects that we have done, we have seen that the ground-mounted systems are prone to theft more than the roof-mounted systems. And we have projects that we have experienced vandalism in Limpopo, Village School. There was some vandalism. But one thing that we have identified is that stakeholder engagement is required. You need very strong stakeholder engagement. But over and above that, you need social facilitation. Because if you do stakeholder engagement on a project, whatever scale, that project is coming from outside. I'm bringing a project into a community. I do stakeholder engagement. If I do stakeholder engagement, it's like coming to you and trying to convince you that this project that I'm bringing will give you a benefit. You benefit from this. And when you agree, then I implement the project. But when you have stakeholder engagement with social facilitation, you understand that as I'm walking into this community, there's already challenges that have got nothing to do with my project. And I'm going to suffer because of those challenges being associated with my project. For instance, you can get into a community that is battling with service delivery. So the tensions are already high, and you bring your project. People can vent on your project, vandalize it, because it's not directed to you, but because you came with a counselor, you came with somebody they know in leadership that they are demanding a service from, then you have a problem. So it's you guys, you're the same. So there's need for social facilitation. You need somebody who understands that there are differences. It's difficult to unite people. I mean, even over simple things, we have disagreements. But it's difficult. So you need patience, you need that kind of engagement, thorough engagement before you actually go to that. And you've seen the results of that in Upper Blinkwater, where there were no fences. The community took it upon themselves to protect the infrastructure as it was built. We also have projects in Limpopo. We have a school project that I just need to mention now. We're also into these social projects as well that benefit the communities, right? You talked about that as well. Yes, we are primarily in the engineering space, but we acknowledge the fact that our engineering, our science should actually ultimately benefit the community, right? So we have a water, energy, food nexus project at Masia Village, where we're having ARC as the experts in agriculture to come and set up tunnels. We're providing the energy infrastructure. We have hydrogen fuel cells that are going to be deployed by DSI. The hydrogen fuel cells were used during COVID at one military hospital in Pretoria. So these fuel cells, they've got a lifespan, and certain hours they can run before they actually die, right? So they still have that life. So they're saying, we want to redeploy. So we were asked to look for a site. We found the site. It's a community center. We have installed the solar PV system. We have not had any issues with vandalism or anything. So it goes with the community by community basis. You can't generalize that it's always going to be the case. You have to take it step by step. And when you sense that risk, do not rush to install. Try to fix the problems. Try to do facilitation, see where the source of the issues are coming from, and try to get the community fully behind the project. We also have a school program. Simnikwe runs a schools program training the educators around renewable energy and renewable and sustainable energy. He trains the educators so that they can talk about these things during the class, because there's no curriculum that at that level that deals with renewable energy. But that assists in creating that awareness. And then we have a secondary school called Mugwaidwa in Limpopo again, where we have established a media lab. We provided them with a containerized learning environment, state of the art, which is what government is talking about when we have to introduce this technology towards fourth industrial revolution, getting these rural schools connected and having the learning environment of a child that's sitting in a big city in Cape Town and all that. So that's what we did. We custom designed the school, the learning environment or the classroom or the media lab from two co-joined containers to make one learning space with a capacity of 34 learners, and each equipped with a laptop. We provided a solar PV system with storage and everything. We also had additional security, because once you have laptops, then it's another issue now that you have to look after. It's not only your solar PV. Laptops, I think they attract unwanted elements more than the PV. So we had additional security. But the good thing is it's a social project that has direct benefit or you can reap results immediately. There we are promoting STEM, science and, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, learning at high school. So I'm coming back to that point where most of our schools are suffering because of acute shortage of qualified teachers for maths and science, leading to schools opting for the easier option out. All this, the learners can do maths literacy. And that means that whole stream cannot be admitted to engineering and other hard science subjects. So we're really having that issue. So with the media lab, with the technologies that's in the media lab, you could have, if you have media labs at all these schools, you could have one teacher in Chris Hani district in Queenstown delivering classes to learners that are remotely located in 20 schools around the province, if you get what I'm saying. So you have one teacher teaching multiple classrooms for belonging to different schools. So if you have a shortage, you could rely on one teacher who is at a remote school to help you. So it's all trying to solve those issues, and I'm pleased to tell you that it was nominated for 2 international awards. On the 15th of September, it won the first award. It was shortlisted as a finalist. 15th of September, there was a live broadcast for CNR Awards in UK. We won that award. The second award, that's where it's listed as a finalist, will be announced on the 4th of November. So we have a lot of other things that we're doing, but it's just us sitting and understanding what the need is and adjusting ourselves. We're not very rigid, we're very flexible as well.
Dumiso, do you want to talk a little bit about theft?
I think the previous speaker has touched a lot on what I was going to talk about when it comes to theft in schools. It all starts with ownership. Most of our schools are regarded as government schools, not community schools. Our communities see the schools as them and us, of which the department, what it has done through the EPWP program, we have, in the new structure, we've allocated facilitators that will be employed by the department in order to, because it's a very big challenge. In most of our projects, if facilitation is not done correctly, it renders our projects redundant. And also now with the challenge of drugs, where these kids, they will steal anything to sell. That is where our main problem is, of which what the government is currently doing in schools. If you look at all the new schools, the installation of the new fencing system, your clear view fencing, to upgrade the security. But security alone is not helping if the community is not owning the school. Of which also, secondly, we have stopped installing ground solar. If you previously look at the schools, a solar panel will be sitting far away from the school or closer to the school. So of which batteries get stolen and they get vandalized. Now we're putting them on the roof so that they can be a little bit more secured. But still, the issue of security does not stop because of the nature of the schools. If the community owns the school, there will be less theft. To come down on the security issue, the issues of training, the department has a program called the UpCod program where we're training artisans. In every year, we recruit over 100 students from the TVET colleges. They get trained for a 3-year program in being trained as artisans for the industry. Where we're lacking is on the renewable energy space, of which I think the previous speaker and Utata on that side, I think I will need to get their contact numbers so that that's a space that the department is currently lacking. We do have plumbers that we're training. We do have electricians that we're training. We push them to a level where they've get a COC, but we don't come in at the side of installation of solar panels or thermal system for plumbers. And Utata on that side, where he was talking about the biogas, we came late as a department to say, okay, we need to get training, but it does not need to end there. We need to train for the industry so that these systems becomes cheaper, because if there are more people who are knowledgeable and skilled about these systems of renewable energy, the prices will come down, because currently the prices are way up because of the few people who are doing them. So I would appreciate maybe to get the contacts of the gentlemen after the session. Another issue, the training. The training facilitators, maybe EWCTA maybe also can assist that, which trainings that are available when it comes to the renewable space. Most government employees, they will go to your normal public works issues bursaries every year to the tune of 5 million rand for both students that are coming from underprivileged communities and also for the internal staff. 1% of our salaries is kept for training, of which maybe then you can tap into that to make sure that the trainings that we're doing are relevant for the day, because everyone used to want to go for training now. It's either they do health and safety, they do trainings that are done normally, the normal trainings. I think the training, if there are institutions here that do training that are accredited by the SITAs or QCTO, so that people can get trained on trainings that they can, after that, find job when we're doing with our artisans. And also our internal staff to upskill our staff when it comes to renewable energy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have the last word. We spoke a lot about training, and you have a lot of young people working in your space. What are some of the programs you do on training, and what are some of the new programs you're thinking of?
Thank you very much. You know, our biodigester system, all the gray water from the biodigester system gets into the irrigation of your vegetable garden. That's also very good now for the food nutrition, the government's food nutrition program. And then the end program, anyway, is that the biogas gets connected into the kitchen, and you'll find that most of these schools are no more using LPG gas now. They're using a cleaner gas because biogas is methane gas. You know, the toilet system, it's also a very good system because we need what's coming from there. So they no more using your pit toilets because all what's there is needed on that tank. And all of these systems are working very well. That is why now my guys are working on a 2,000 liter, that is designed now for our homes, because it can also help, especially with the new developments. We just got an invitation from Human Settlement, because Human Settlement, some years back, they introduced what is called FLISP, that is the Financial Linked Individual program. Now you can also get, you can be financed now to build your home supported by the FLISP program. So all what we're doing now as a company, we've got a full package. You see, 2 weeks back, I was in Umtata in Gangelizwe. It's just that the time is too short for me to explain some of the things that we do in our sections there. We producing the interlocking blocks to build houses. We are in the program that IDT has produced, that of the eradication of mud schools in the rural areas. And we are also putting this program together for human settlement. That if we have designed these houses that were built, we built in Gangelizwe Township, 92 of them, we set up the water tank, the biodigester tank. Also now, we've got this package that we're having for this solar system. What really hurts with the government is trying to deliver to our people. They built the RDP houses, but the same people that are given these houses, they steal the lights from outside there. The problem that we are having with ESCOM, it's getting worse because people are stealing the electricity. So with a system that, you build an RDP house and it's solely it's solely off the grid. The government can save a lot with that because there is no one who will be stealing electricity because the house that they've built, it's self-sustainable. It's got its own energy. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay. One last one.
Thank you, Prof. Just a quick one. I think I did mention in my presentation that as a provincial government did it, we are working with the Energy and Water Sector and the Office of the Premier to do exactly what Doc Maseka was saying here, to have training in renewables. We are busy now, with the MOU. And the other thing that we have identified is the issue of the cost. And we have found that because of Saratech is in Cape Town or in the Western Cape, more than 70% of the cost to do the course is actually accommodation and traveling to Western Cape. So we are busy now also trying to put rope in Saratech so that they can have a satellite campus in the Eastern Cape so that we can cut those costs of accommodation and traveling. But there is a strong plan that we are working on a training of energy. Because we're saying that we want to bring the energy project in the Eastern Cape, but but we also need to build a workforce. So together with Energy and Water Sector, we've already sit about 3 meetings this year. We are going towards signing an MOU. But the first call now is to get Saratec, convince them if they can have a satellite campus within the Eastern Cape. The other approach that we have taken, there is a competition called BOM, Battle of Municipalities, where it started as just a competition amongst municipalities. But they're trying to formalize that kind of competition now towards giving a practical experience to TVET college learners. What they will do, for example, for cooking of that competition, when that is at of that competition, they will use students from TVET colleges. So also for connection of all the sound speakers and electricity during the competition, they use the electrical students. So we also came into that space now where we also present renewable energy so that we can show our TVET colleges that there are other options after they graduated from TVET colleges. There are other job opportunities in the renewable energy sector. Thank you.
I think that is brilliant. I can imagine a satellite campus at Komani. That would be brilliant. So I think that is a good resolution. Colleagues, that brings us to the end of the discussion. And the last thing that we need to do now is to get this MOU signed and we close the session. Can we do that? Oh, okay. Do you need a mic?
Yes, I think what we'll do, I'm just going to read this so that we have that understanding.
I think.
Thank you so much, Chair. Actually, we are about to sign the memorandum of understanding between the Islamic Development Agency. Between the Christian Development Agency, Stellenbosch University, through the Center for Renewable and Sustainable Energy Studies, we agree on the following for this collaboration. The specific areas of our cooperation cover under this MOU include, but not limited, identification of the common projects, collaboration areas in the field of renewable and sustainable energy. The second one, sharing of the infrastructure for the sake of training of community members in the municipality. The third one, participation in organizing joint conferences, workshops, and seminars. The fourth one, jointly apply for funding for renewable and sustainable energy projects in the municipality. The fifth one, delivery of strategic and appropriate short-term training programs for community members. And then the last one, other forms of collaboration in the field of renewable and sustainable energy as agreed upon by the parties. So I just want to Dr. Sarah to confirm that.
Okay. Yes, I do confirm that it's indeed the collaborative activities that we are agreeing upon in this memorandum of understanding, as the CEO has indicated. Thank you.
just make sure that you actually signed. Yeah, I can confirm that they signed. So the agreement is sealed. And as you know, the relationship has been ongoing for a while. There are a lot of programs that have already started. So this is just formalization of that relationship. And please be on the lookout for programs and projects that will come out of that relationship. So thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of the session. So let me thank you. You've been a great audience. And I know some of you have left already, but I thank you for participating, for being disciplined and listening, and for making my work facilitating the session easy. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your afternoon and weekend ahead. There's one more announcement to be made before you leave. Oh, there is tea outside, so you don't have to leave now. You can go and have tea, and then after that you can then leave. So thank you very much. The workshop is closed.